Okay, so finally these patch notes. I've been talking about doing it for a long time. Let's get it done before AE actually hits. Let's get it done. So I'm gonna go over what's important for Zangief only. I don't really care about anything else. In these general changes, there's just these three things that are important, right? Well, also there's one, um, but we don't really know what's in that. So I'm just gonna stick to these three, and basically the first one. This is a very good change in my opinion. This is gonna make manually timing a meaty throw is super difficult in this game. There's a 2 frame window to do it, and this is gonna make it just easier. Um, but I do wonder if they're also gonna give command grabs 3 active frames instead of 2, because if not, that's gonna create some inconsistencies with the setups. Because right now, if you have a setup where the regular throw works, then in all situations the command throw will work as well. But if this change only applies to regular throws, that will no longer be the case. Um, then this next one, this is a Geef buff in my opinion, because we don't really do the V trigger into combo thing that often. Um, like usually you either do critical arts or a reset. Um, Very rarely do you go for the full V trigger into the EX Air SPD. Doesn't happen as often. So if it nerfs other characters more than it nerfs Geef, then it's a Geef buff. This is obviously a nerf. This is a nerf, right? Geef specific stuff. Right. So after you hit someone with the throw, you're at a different range, if I'm understanding this correctly. So yeah, we don't really know if it's a buff or a nerf. I'm assuming this applies to corner stuff mostly. I'm assuming that this is to get rid of the corner throw loops. Um, Standing light punch, yeah, this is just a nerf. I think there's no other way. Um, Change the hitbox and hurtbox. They probably considered it was too good of an anti-air, so they're gonna make it, you know, more inconsistent. I'm guessing. And then this one makes it so that after you hit them with it, you like there's probably still gonna be a mix-up. It's just gonna be way less scary, especially when you consider what they're doing to crouch jab. But we'll get to that. Standing light kick. The weird thing about this is that like here they also do something about the recovery. And then they specifically mention that there are no changes to advantage and disadvantage, but they don't mention that here. So it's possible that that the frame advantage is changed along with this. So if that's true, then that would mean that standing light kick is now -1 on hit and -3 on block. Um, if I'm getting that right, like the lariat combos will obviously still work, um, but I suspect that standing light kick is now going to be a jab punish on block. And because of the extra recovery frames, this might also affect your running bear grab cancels. I'm not sure, but it might affect the spacing, like where they work, where they don't work. But we'll have to see. Crouching jab, this thing just got well, it's not all bad, but mostly it was heavily nerfed. Increase the damage from 30 to 40. This is good for neutral, right? You just when you're sitting there and you're trying to keep people out, you're just fishing for the stray hits. Then this is good. This is what you want. Reducing the active frames doesn't really matter in neutral, but this makes it so um, it's way harder to use it as a melee. Um, and if you compare it, if you combine it with what they're doing here, you're not gonna use this as a combo tool anymore. That's just it's gone. Um, So it's no longer good as a melee tool, period. It's no longer good as a combo tool, period. Increasing the total frames. Um, well, so they're reducing one active frame, and then the total frames go up by 2. So what that means is the recovery frames have increased by 3, basically. So there are 3 extra recovery frames on the crouching jab. So that's a nerf. Decreasing advantage on hit from +4 to +3. That has a few implications, right? So first of all, it doesn't combo anymore into itself unless you get a counter hit or you do it meaty. But then even if you do it meaty, there's just the one frame, right? So you can only, if you do it meaty, you can only combo into other lights. So it's pointless. Um, but the upside to this is um, when you go for thick throws with Geef and you hit them, and then you do your SPD immediately after, you will whiff because you are +4, right? Um, but now you're going to be +3, so it'll work. Of course, that's irrelevant if the command grabs also have 3 active frames now, like regular throws, because then they would work at +4. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So crouching jab is going to be better in neutral, and I think it's going to be better for thick SPDs, because right now there's the inconsistency, right, where you hit someone, you go for the SPD, and because they didn't block, you actually got a hit, your SPD will whiff, and that's gonna go. That's not gonna be the case anymore. Changed her box. I can only imagine that it's a nerf. There's no other way. Crouching light kick. I think this is huge. Like I don't think this is just for special moves. I think you can no longer cancel into critical art. I think that's gone. So the light confirm into critical art. I think they just took that out for whatever reason. Change the hitbox. I have no idea. I'm hoping buff, right? It has to be a buff because it doesn't have a lot of range. And because of what they're doing to crouching jab, that means that all our 4-frame punishes, well, most of them, will have to start with a crouching light kick. Unless you're just doing raw single jab cancelled into lariat, which is also pretty risky. I mean, if you drop your reversal timing, if you don't get the reversal timing, you're eating a full combo when your lariat gets blocked. Changed hurt boxes on these. Who knows, man. Knee hammer. Yeah. So if you get people to block this, or if you hit with it, then it's the same. So there are no changes there. But if you whiff, you are vulnerable for 3 extra frames. That's what this means. So this is nerfed as an approach tool. That's what it means. Knee hammer. Right now, there's a 2-frame difference between regular dash and knee hammer. Right, regular dash is 25 frames, knee is 27. This makes a difference 5 because dash, I'm assuming, is still going to be 25 frames, but knee will be 30. So that's pretty big, I think, actually. Then there's this. They want you to get blown up if you miss an SPD, basically. So there's extra recovery, and then changed the movement distance on whiff. I can only imagine that, like when Geef whiffs an SPD right now, he sort of lunges forward a little bit. I think he's gonna lunge forward, well, further than he does now, so that it's easier for people to reach you. Double lariat again. They want to see this thing punished, I guess. Yeah, and then thunderstorm. I mean, these there are a lot of changes. Sorry, I've been a bit ill this last week. Yeah, so a lot of these changes I'm just not a fan of, right? So the startup decreased from 4 frames to 2 frames. That's nice. Like you can use it the way Colleen uses it now. You can actually use it to blow up frame traps with it, or some meaties as well actually, because not a lot of meaties actually hit on the first frame in this game. There's not a lot of them. Most hit on frame 2 or frame 3. So it's kind of a wake up option, I guess. The stun is going up for whatever reason. That was not the issue. It's on double punches instead of kicks, right? So you're not gonna get it when you're going for SPD. You're just gonna get it when you're going for EXSPD. Uh, Reduce the recovery on whiff. I mean, I'd rather not get this move at all, but I'll take it. Uh, Change that cannot be. Oh, this is good. I mean, change the whiff motion. Yeah. But the problem with this move is I don't see any mention of it working against more uh, normals than it does now. Like I still think it's gonna work against those 4 or 5 normals in the game, and they don't mention the frame advantage either. So it's a hard knockdown, but you don't get anything off of it. So I think the special move is still gonna be pointless. Increased amount of VX meter gain. I guess that's nice. We'll have to see. I mean, it could be so little that you barely see it, right? Like overall, these hurts. Overall, these patch notes are so vague and they seem rushed as well. Like, what is this formatting? I mean, granted, this is I'm reading them. I'm sure you can, but still. Anyway, in short, I think Geef is gonna. Sorry, Geef is gonna be roughly the same. That's my thoughts. I mean, there might be a slight drop, um, but I'd say right now we are upper mid tier. Maybe we're gonna drop to lower mid tier, but we're definitely, this will not be a return to season one. I think Eve is still gonna be okay. I'd have loved to see some solutions for some problems that he has, but instead we are getting buffed SPDs. So it is what it is. It will still be a struggle. It will still be Eve, and we'll have to see how the meta develops. But these a few of these changes are definitely gonna hurt more than they will help. So yeah, um, when AE releases, I'll hit the lab. I'll see what else has changed, and if I find stuff, I'll post the tech videos like I usually do. And I have some other stuff to announce. I have some plans for YouTube and some other stuff I want to ask you guys about, but I'll post a video on that later this week. When I'm not as tired as I am now, and when I don't have to rush things just to get something out before AE is out. So yeah, see you later, guys.